Hi all. So this is just a quick one. This is a, shall we say, turn 1.5 update. I just got through watching the German turn, and yeah, it's been a bit interesting. There's been some development there that's kind of thrown me in the back foot, and I'm not really sure how to handle it. So let me show you. Let me bring up my big old war map with lines in it. So the orange line represents the German front line, and the green dash there, that represents where I plan on drawing the front line, where I'd like to sort of start the fight and defend. Now, granted, anyone who's kind of played this scenario knows I'm probably defending far too far forward, but it's part of me. I can't help with a little bit of role play element to this. It's like I'm a Russian general. I'm supposed to be defending the motherland. Yes, the wargamer says run away for the next like 10 turns and dig a defensive line much further east and just give up this country and run their supplies down, but it's not really the done thing. It just doesn't feel morally right to me. So I'm not running away. I'm going to try and hold as much of the motherland as I can. And unfortunately, what my opponent's done, it's something I alluded to last video, but through this bit here I call the swamp. If you've seen the map at all, this is the kind of, it is basically a big swamp, a big bit of boggy ground that sits between Kiev and Minsk. And he's driven a feck ton through, like he's got all the way through it almost to the other side. And it explains where the missing panzer divisions are, because I noticed down the south here when he's been advancing, he's just been advancing with infantry and it's been really slow, whereas up the north, as you can see, it's much further because it's a kind of standard German advance with panzer divisions running through every hole and surrounding you. You know, it's kind of what I'd expect to see, and I'd expect to have seen similar down south, but I've not seen it. I've not seen, there's barely a panzer division there, if there's any at all. And I've caught glimpses of them all channeling through this swamp. So I think there's at least 2 panzer division. I mean, I've seen rail guns go through there, heavy artillery, there's lots of artillery, a lot of engineers. I think what he's doing there is he's running stuff through there with a plan to breach right across the Dempner. And then, as you can see, that leaves a couple of issues, and it depends which way he's going to go. Now, my gut tells me what I expect him to do then is turn south. And, you know, he could cut right along down the Dempner, flanking any defence to try and build along there, and just capture this whole area, like cut off all these troops. That's a real concern. The other option is he could just swing north and pincer sort of everything here, but I can't imagine he's planning that. The other option is he could do a beeline straight for Moscow or go straight east and just try and cut Russia in two, but again, both those options seem a bit overextended, whereas going south and squeezing, that kind of makes sense, because then all my troops are trapped between the swamp, the Germans and their allies coming from the west, and this a hell of a lot of panzers coming from the east. I don't know what I'm going to do. In all honesty, I'm still not quite sure how I'm going to handle this. Do I just turn and run, doing, you know, one option is just call a mass retreat and run for the Dempner and just try and hold them there as much as possible. It goes against my nature though. I think I'm going to have to go through my forces and marshal and see what I can marshal to hold this area, because next turn he's going to be on it, and unfortunately I'm a little bit behind because the first turn my opponent accidentally put on interdiction, and I'd quickly discovered trying to move anything by rail was just a bad idea in that situation. So hopefully this turn at least I've got rail movement, but ideally I want to use a good chunk of it to get that factory out of Kiev, and I think there's another factory in Gomel that probably needs to get shifted as well, so that may hamper that. It's a bit risky, it's a risk assessment I'll have to take. So yeah, that's where we currently are at just now. Just a few other things I noted if you're doing the scenario. It's worth reading the PDF, not the PDF, the Word document quite carefully, because there's a couple of things I noticed. The key one, there's like a 50% supply point. If you go down Leningrad, there's like 50% and 10% supply points all around Leningrad. But they're all tied up here to this small part of Polyarny, and if the Germans take that, they all vanish. Didn't notice that. I'd planned on abandoning that port, and now going to have to work out how to reinforce that, because I want to try and keep those supply points at Leningrad. And it's the same here, all these little ones in the island tie into, I think that's Talarin there. And again, down south, the Odessa point ties to the Sevastopol point. So worth keeping that in mind when you're building your defensive line and where you're trying to hold. So yeah, that's the current situation. It's just a quick point 0.5 update. I'll probably put up the full update afterwards and go through sector by sector, sort of detailing where we're at, and I'll talk a bit about what I actually decide to do eventually once I get around to it. Catch you later.